You couldn't pick a harder place to find a missing aircraft. Remote, 2 miles deep, and with some of the worst weather in the world. But for all the ships, satellites and spotter planes, there's only one way to find things under the water. Sonar. Researchers at the University of Southampton showed me how it's done. They call this piece of equipment the fish. It's the same sort of equipment that they would be using to find the aircraft. Effectively, it sends sound waves down to the seabed and listens to the echo and forms a map. Scanning the bottom, line by line, the picture builds, but it's slow work, and we had good weather.
In the open ocean, you've got waves that are 10, 15, as much as 20 metres, and so it becomes impossible to work in those conditions. You've got to lower the fish down to just above the seabed, and that can take a couple of hours of feeding cable out. That's dangerous, it's slow, and you've got to watch the weather.
They used the same technique a few years ago to locate a French airliner that had crashed into the Atlantic. It took them 2 years to find most of that aircraft, and they were lucky because it came to rest on a rare flat part of an underwater mountain range. The search for flight MH370 will be even harder. Is it easy to get confused for a rock to look like a piece of aircraft?
It's very easy to get confused, and of course we don't know what the seabed is like in the particular area they're going to survey. They could get lucky and pick up something on day one. They could be out there for 10 years.
If they're fortunate, they'll stumble across a large piece of wreckage. It could look like this. Those 2 long ridges are the power cables to the Isle of Wight. The green blob over here is a 100-foot-long shipwreck. They still don't know for sure where the Malaysian airliner ended up. In an hour, we mapped barely 1 square mile of the seabed. The search area for the missing plane spans tens of thousands of square miles. Richard Westcott, BBC News, on the Solent.